Welcome to Sunday Night Mystery, your weekly journey into the darkest corners of unsolved crimes and chilling mysteries. Tonight's tale takes us back to a fateful day in 1949 when a quiet bank in Bristol became the scene of a shocking robbery and murder. Our story begins on a seemingly ordinary winter's day in Bristol. The Knoll branch of Lloyds Bank buzzed with the usual activity, but little did anyone know, tragedy lurked just around the corner. It was January the 7th, 1949, when a bespectacled young man entered the bank. To most, he seemed inconspicuous, just another customer waiting patiently. Dressed impeccably, he entered the building, unnoticed by most. However, one astute customer, John Rowe, couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. His instincts proved correct, and chaos erupted moments later. As the minutes passed, tensions began to simmer. Mr. Rowe was so concerned, he left the bank, found the nearest telephone box and dialed 999. He told the operator, "There's something queer happening at the bank." Following his telephone call to the police at 3:09 p.m, Mr. Rowe headed back to the bank, where he saw the same young man leaving, but it was too late. He tried to engage the killer, saying, "You're in a bit of a hurry, aren't you?" The man responded, saying he'd just collected a debt. Mr. Rowe tried to force the criminal to wait and held his car door to stop him going, but the man managed to drive away. The heroic Mr. Rowe, dazed and confused, still managed to remember the registration of the getaway car, an Austin 16, registration number JHY 812, and called the police for a second time. Another man who had just arrived at the bank jumped on the running board of the killer's car, hung on until he was thrown into the road as the car went round a corner. Inside the bank, George Barron Black, the senior cashier, had struggled with the attacker before being shot twice. And now lay dead, a victim of a brutal shooting, a cold-blooded murder. His assistant, Donald Twitt, son of the Bristol police inspector, barely 17 years old, found himself locked away, a witness to the horror unfolding before him, but powerless to stop the ongoing tragedy. The lifeless body of George Barron Black was worth just £1,444 to this evil killer. Officers, led by Detective Chief Inspector Melbourne Phillips, arrived and found the 50-year-old Mr. Black had been shot in the chest with a .32 caliber gun. Detectives discovered the getaway vehicle had been stolen that morning. There had been sightings of the stolen vehicle throughout the day in Bedminster, and eventually the car was found abandoned in Totterdown at 3:45 p.m. Police offered a £1,000 reward to find the killer, described as in his mid-20s, around 5'6" tall, with a small build and a pale, round face. He was wearing horn-rimmed glasses with brown wavy hair, wearing a dark overcoat and a green or grey trilby hat turned down at the front. He was also said to have had a dark-coloured briefcase with him. In the chaos that followed, detectives swarmed the scene. Clues emerged amidst the chaos and turmoil. But perhaps the biggest clue to the killer's identity was a note witnesses had seen him writing, which was discovered on the floor of the bank. It read, "See you Monday at 2. Missed you today, Joe. Waited till 3 p.m. A handwriting expert analysed the short note, said it was probably written by a person with a grudge against life and would have violent outbursts, but generally be calm. The question remained, who was Joe, and what role did he play in this deadly drama? The investigation sparked a nationwide manhunt, with police following leads far and wide. Every scrap of evidence was studied, but despite their efforts, the killer remained elusive, slipping through their fingers like a phantom in the night. Detectives followed leads from as far as Italy, issued copies of the note, taking fingerprints of 200 people to eliminate known gangsters from as far as London and Ireland. Months passed, yet the case remained unsolved. Then a strange letter surfaced in a Bristol newspaper, linking the murder to a past crime. Could this be the breakthrough investigators desperately needed, or just another dead end in a case shrouded in mystery? It spoke of a blonde lady whose husband was a detective, but was seen talking to a man that matched the killer's description at the Bowling Green Club. The letter also suggested that there could be a connection between Mr. Black's murder and that of Robert Parrington Jackson, 3 years earlier, who was the manager of the Odeon Cinema. The blonde lady was never traced by police, and despite the investigation continuing, the gunman was never found. Banknotes from the robbery began cropping up around the country, but there were still no leads that discovered the killer's identity. As the years rolled by, the case remained unsolved. George Black left £1,339 in his will, which was published on Thursday the 10th of March 1949. He left his property to his wife for the rest of her life, and then to his daughter. The memory of George Barron Black's murder lingered, haunting the city of Bristol. Despite the best efforts of the police, the truth remained elusive, leaving behind only questions and speculation. Join us as we dive deep into the twists and turns of this and other perplexing cases, investigating secrets buried for decades. Will we finally uncover the identity of the bank robber killer? Or will this mystery remain unsolved? A chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. Tune in next week for another Sunday Night Mystery, where the truth is never as simple as it seems. Until then, remember, the truth may be hidden, but as long as we keep the investigation alive, it's never truly lost. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Sunday Night Mystery. Next week, we uncover more tales of darkness lurking within the human soul. Don't forget, check out our supporter page at patreon.com/Sunday Night Mystery. I'm Brett, and I'll see you next week on Sunday Night Mystery. Until then, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, guard yourself against the darkness that surrounds us all. I'll see you next week on Sunday Night Mystery.